to you live from beautiful San Marcos, Texas, with your Calls Out podcast for year one, week two. Here we go. We're going to start off in the ACC with some game breakdowns. We'll actually start with the Kennesaw State at Wake Forest game, user versus user, your week two game of the week. Close one after one, 7-7 tie. Wake Forest pulls out a 21-14 lead going into the half, and they come out and stay strong in the third quarter as they have a 35-21 lead, but Kennesaw State tried to come on late and added 8 for your 35-29 Wake Forest Demon Deacon win. The story in the game, and this one was third down conversions. The Kennesaw State Owls 5-13 for 38%. The Demon Deacons of Wake Forest 5-9 for 55%. The game in this one, it was one on third downs. Also yards per rush on the game. Kennesaw, 21 carries, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 2.8 yards a carry. While the Demon Deacons added 23 carries for 132 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, but averaged 5.7 yards a clip on the day. Let's take a look at the other stats. First downs in the game was a tight one. 15 for the Owls, 16 for the Demon Deacons. Kennesaw State ran 56 plays. 296 yards of total offense, 5.3 yards a play. While the Demon Deacons put up 394 on 46 plays, averaging 8.6 yards a play on the day. Kennesaw State 21-35 passing for 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. While the Demon Deacons went 17-23 for 262 and 3 passing touchdowns. You can't say turnovers were on the day. Wake Forest had a fumble and an interception. Kennesaw State had an interception. Kennesaw State wins the turnover margin +1 on the day. Good game there. Here we go. We're going to drop down now. Stanford at BYU. Close game there. Closely contested. 10-7. BYU led it to half over to Stanford, but the Cardinals come out in the second half in the fourth quarter and put up 10 to pull it out 17-13. Let's take a look at the stats. 20 first downs, 292 yards total offense. They ran 62 plays, 4.7 yards a play. They rushed the ball 34 times. 73 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown, but the Cardinals only averaged 2.1 rushing yards on the day. They added 219 through the air and 1 passing touchdown while going 8 of 14 for 57% on third down conversions. An ACC game for Virginia Tech, but not for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech. Vandy 48, Virginia Tech 41. Good game there. Now we're going to drop down. Virginia at NC State. Virginia, the Cavaliers, put a whooping on NC State. 38-3. 29 first downs for the Cavaliers. 474 yards total offense. They ran 69 plays. 6.9 yards a play. They carried the ball 31 times for 167 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns while averaging 5.4 yards a carry on the day. They added 307 through the air with 3 passing touchdowns. The Cavaliers, 9-12 on third down conversions for 75%. And their defense holding NC State to 4 of 11 on third downs for 36%. Now let's move over to the American. North Texas at Western Michigan. The Mean Green 44. Western Michigan 14. Let's take a look at the stats in that one. The Mean Green had 28 first downs, 499 yards of total offense. They ran 60 plays, 8.3 yards a play. They carried the ball 26 times for 182 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns while averaging 7 yards a carry on the day. They added 317 through the air for 4 passing touchdowns. The Mean Green, though, 2 of 7 on third down conversions for 28%. Their defense so amazing on third down, holding Western Michigan to 1 of 9 for 11%. Now we jump down here to Northwestern at Tulane. 38 for Northwestern, 24 for Tulane, and the Fairson. Texas State at UTSA. This is going to be an American game for UTSA. Texas State comes in the rivalry game, pulls it out, 37-10. It was a 20-3 game at the half for the Bobcats, but it sure felt closer than that when they come out in the third and added 17 to punch a nail in the coffin of the Roadrunners. Let's take a look at the stats. 26 first downs for the Bobcats. 451 yards total offense, ran 71 plays. 6.4 yards a play. They ran the ball 27 times for 135 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown while averaging 5 yards a carry on the day. They were 29 of 44 with 316 passing and 3 passing touchdowns. The Bobcats, 6 of 14 on third down conversions for 42%. Now we jump over to the Big 12. No games there. Jumping over to the Big 10, Northwestern and Tulane. We covered that one. Number 9, Illinois at Duke. Duke takes the loss there in a tough one, 31-17. It'll do the Illini. Taking a look at the stats. The Blue Devils put up 20 first downs, 352 yards of total offense, ran 75 plays, 4.7 yards a play. They had the ball, rushed the ball 17 times for 62 rushing yards, but no rushing touchdowns. Averaged 3.6 yards a carry on the day. Added 290 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. They went 6 of 16 on third down conversions for 37%. The defense stood tough, only allowing 171 yards total offense, 3 of 11 on third down conversions for 27%. But a tough loss. Tough loss as Illinois blanks them in the fourth for the victory. Jumping now over to Conference USA. Nothing there. We've already covered that game, the Kennesaw State Wake Forest game. Looking into the MAC, we've already covered that game. Miami University at Rutgers. Rutgers 45, Miami, Ohio 3. Let's take a look at the stats on that one. Rutgers, 29 first downs, 524 yards total offense, ran 64 plays, 8.2 yards a play. They rushed the ball 20 times for only 33 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in a horrible 1.6 yards a carry on the day, but it didn't matter. They added 491 yards through the air, passing with 4 passing touchdowns while going 10 of 12 on third down conversions for 83%. And their defense answered the call, only allowing Miami, Ohio 2 of 8 on third down conversions for 25%. Now we go over to the Mountain West Conference, San Diego State at Washington State. San Diego State goes in to Washington, and they pull out a stunner, 47-37. Let's take a look at the stats in that one. 28 first downs, 618 yards total offense. They ran 71 plays, 8.7 yards a play. They rushed the ball 39 times for 282 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, while adding 336 through the air with 2 passing touchdowns. 3 of 11 on third down conversions for 27%. 5 of 13 their defense held Washington State to 38% on third downs. This one was a close one at the half. Washington State 31, San Diego State 24, but San Diego State came out in the third and the fourth and put up 23 points in the second half to outscore Washington State 26-6. And your 10-point margin of victory, 47 for the Aztecs, 37 for Washington State. Now we jump over Pac-12, nothing there. SEC, we've already covered the Vandy game. Mississippi State hosting Arizona State. Close game there. Tough loss for the Bulldogs. Arizona State had 14 first downs, 373 yards. Total offense, ran 59 plays, 6.3 yards a play. They rushed the ball 32 times, 101 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, averaging going over the wrong stats. 3.2 yards a carry. Good job by Mississippi State, holding Arizona State to only 3.2 yards a carry. The Bulldogs, 16 first downs, 258 yards total offense, ran 65 plays, 4 yards a carry, 4 yards a play. 24 carries, 52 rushing yards, no touchdowns, 2.2 yards a carry on the day. They added 206 through the air with 2 passing touchdowns. The Bulldogs of Mississippi State, 7 of 15 on third down conversions for only 46%. Over into the Sun Belt, Memphis at Georgia State. Memphis 49, Georgia State 3. 34 first downs for the Tigers, 76 plays, 575 yards, 7.6 yards a play. They carried the ball 32 times for 158 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. They averaged 4.9 yards a carry. They added 417 through the air with 5 passing touchdowns and were 5 of 10 on third down conversions for 50%. The defense stood tall, holding Georgia State to only 1 of 10 on third down conversions for 10%. That's all the games from week 2. We're going to jump in here real quick. I didn't have a chance to look at this ahead of time, so I'm going to scan through it real quick, and then I'm going to give you my players of the week for week 2. So there's not a whole lot to be looking for, but here we go right here. We're going to go right now. Defensively, Wake Forest, Ladarius Weber Jr., 3 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception, 2 pass breakups, and a defensive touchdown. Your Week 2 Defensive Player of the Week. And now over to the American Conference, your Offensive Player of the Week, Memphis wide receiver, Brady Cluse, 14 receptions, 157 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. He averaged 11.2 yards a catch on the day. That's your Offensive and Defensive Players of the Week. And until next time, this is Coach Dub, signing off.